Okay, that should have fixed the microphone problems from last night. Welcome back. Today is Drawcember the 2nd, and I've got a friend's pet today to draw. This is Assam, the absolutely adorable dog, and yes, it is a dog, belonging to a friend of mine called Ember. I don't actually know Ember's last name. Strange. However, this is Assam. I think a Pomeranian, although he does look an awful lot like a raccoon. So structurally, there are very few hard lines on this raccoon. This dog, sorry. So just trying to. I don't think I'm going to be able to turn this into the same kind of structure that I did last time, because the outer edge of this is just kind of like a floof. It's basically a jelly bean. Although I suppose, actually thinking about it, there is a kind of shape like that going on. I don't know if you can forge that from anything, but that's kind of the... This is the essentially what we're working with here, is a sort of eyes. It's almost like a ninja dog. There's a kind of almost beard-like appendage to the fur. I don't know if that's because of the placement of the collar, or if that's just a natural shape, or whether I'd be best off just imagining it like a sort of circle and then adding the various parts. What I like about this is that it has no hard edges. What I don't like about this is that it has no hard edges. So that's kind of what we're stuck with, that shape. Yeah. So, I guess without further ado, oh, I haven't opened this on my big screen behind so that I can look back at it for reference. Hang on just a second. I am trying to do this properly. I'm trying to, use references and construction, and I don't really see how I can blockify this. It's not a very blocky shape. What I can do is essentially try to structure it. So do I want to do I'm not going to bother with the body of this. I'm going to work entirely from a kind of a head shape here. It's kind of slightly taller than it is. The head is more like that sort of shape. It has a slight inwards there. A sort of, I want to say a flat top, but it's not a flat top. It's just this kind of, where the ears are, there's a little, and I think that indentation is entirely down to the ears. I think if it wasn't for the ears in the way, that contour would just be completely round. There's a slight angle on it there. Now, the face here is literally just a pair of squares for the eyes, and then we have this way too adorable nose, kind of there-ish. There's kind of there's a head tilt. I want to try and get the centre line of the head right. It's not a very large tilt, but there is just a tilt to one side. And that goes up like that. Like so. There is a kind of almost, like I say, it's like a raccoon. This dog is like a raccoon. And the nose kind of comes down like so. And we have underneath it, there's just this little too damn adorable. That's the problem. This dog is just too cute. Just too damn cute. That's all awful. Every single line I drew there is awful. I'm going to go straight back down and in and do that. There's our muzzle with a little kind of extension to it underneath, which is the underside of the mouth. These pencils probably make very little sense, but they do to me. To me they make perfect sense. Now here's the thing, the head is turned slightly one way, so the nose is ever so slightly further that way than it is the other. Just thinking about it, the centre line goes down there, but the nose should actually centre kind of there. I feel like I need to just get rid of the entire nose and move it across. Yeah, I should have started with the muzzle, because that allows me to do so much more. Note to self: muzzle is good structure. I need to put this back down to a smaller line now. Why can't I change the size of that? Right. Okay, so the nose is more kind of there. So we draw the top edge. I've made the pencil a bit smaller as well. And it sort of has a that's more like it. I now worry that it's too far that way, because there is, lining it up, the centre line, it's kind of there, but the edge of the nose, let's not get it too close, but it ends kind of directly underneath that. So the place it goes is there. That's the nose. This comes inwards back to the centre. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. That's what the crowd wants to see. Yeah. So this has a kind of and that where this continues over here, there is a slight like that, and then the floof goes down there. A similar thing there, but it's not quite as pronounced. And then the chin goes in there a bit. We have the underside of the lip. Eyes. It's far more round than I've made it appear. But the eyes are essentially like that. Damn, this is one cute dog. And then this entire thing is just, it's just fuzz. The whole thing is just fuzz out in all directions. I don't know how I'm going to represent this when I do the ink, but this has kind of a straight line and a curve for that ear. Sort of comes down into this fuzzy section here. That has a very clean edge, but then the hair here is just, this ear fluffs out. Oh, actually no, that's not quite right. It sort of fluffs out in this direction. And there's a tuft in front of there. Yeah. And then this ear, it sort of comes up this way and back in here. Smaller ear. Although, because of the way the head is tilted, that ear is actually higher than that one. And this fluff should be a little higher here to cover it. But this ear, you can actually see the fuzz on both sides. And here the fur. not putting too much detail into that. I feel like this is too much of a neck here now. Although there is a lot of fluff, but the fluff literally comes all the way into here. We have the sort of the darker part of the face comes to this area, and then we have amazing kind of eyeliner on point to there and there. So the eyes are they're practically circular. Actually, thinking about it, I've tried to do a kind of linear shape, but they are practically circular at this point. We've got a little line down the centre of the nose, nostril either side. That's wrong. There's kind of a shiny light there. I don't know if I'm going to try and. You probably didn't see this because yesterday, when the sound went wrong, I attempted to make it still kind of work as a video by just speeding it up and doing it silently. It didn't really work, but it worked well enough. However, the ultimate takeaway from that was that at one point you'll see that I tried to colour the image and it really did not go well. Like, it didn't work at all. Colour is not something that I have great skill at the moment, especially not when I'm trying to replicate. You know, this face has incredible gradation here. You've got going from dark fur down here up to light fur here. There's sort of a deep shading there. There's no way you can colour this face in one colour. It's too fluffy. It's just too fluffy. Right. So I think for this particular one, if I go back to my layers, that's now going to be. Come on, can I? Yeah. Reduce the opacity because that is now pencils. Add an extra layer on top. This is now my inks layer. So everything from this point on is permanent. I mean, nothing is permanent really. But yeah. I've got some extra shortcut keys on here so I can actually zoom in a little bit, which I'm going to do for this because I feel like this needs a bit more detail on the nose to get it right. That nostril nearly touches the edge. This nose has a kind of a little inroads there, so we have curl up this. Ooh, what's wrong with that? Oh, I'm not smoothing my strokes. That's the problem. So now, that's more like it. Wrong. It's trying to get the little details like that shape. You know, I don't think I actually like this tool. I think I want to go to the same tool I was using before, but use pressure size. Yeah, that's better. That's way better. We're going to smooth our strokes out. Yeah. There we go. That's what we want. See, the thing is, they are perfectly round nostrils on the source image. They are completely perfectly round and exactly the same size, which is such a strange look for a dog. But that's what the crowd wants to see. So this comes up here and down to there. And then we have the same on this side, but it kind of just, it sort of flits away down into this area here. So we can actually kind of see the same thing here on this side. That never quite makes it all the way to the edge. This does actually make it all the way into there though. We have a kind of a line there-ish. Now for the eyes, we have a sort of a very clear stroke there. And the same thing kind of going on from about here. No. There's a sort of almost like a cheek going there. Don't know if I want to capture that or not. I think what I would like to do actually is just... oh no, that's wrong. What I'd like to do is just come in from here, do the whole eye, and then just sort of capture where that part of the lid goes into there. The thing about Assam's eyes is that they kind of have a I mean they're basically black. They have no pupils to them, which is great because that makes things a lot easier for me when I actually come around to drawing them for reals. Because it means that I can just draw this part and fill the rest. Can I do a flood fill? Ugh, okay. Is that how I want to do it? No, I don't want to do a flood fill. Oh, stop doing that. I don't want to do a flood fill. I want to take this to here. Now this may be the first of the experiments that I talk about all the time. The fact that if there's a thing you want to attempt in an image, having a tablet is great because you can attempt it, see what it looks like, and then immediately go back to what it was before you attempted it without having to worry too much about, you know, erasing pencil lines, redoing pencil lines, that kind of thing. Here I'm just thickening up lines. I feel like I should do a little bit of a shine just there, even though it's not on the source image. I feel like it should be, just to kind of match the two images, the two eyes, you know. The reason I'm only filling in this part is because what I can do after this is select a much thicker pen and just fill in the blanks, because with a thicker outline I don't have to worry too much about getting it perfect. I'm going to turn the size up. Ooh, probably a bit too large. Can I? Edit that, turn the spacing down. That's better. this now too large? It's more like it. It's taken quite a long time just to get the eyes right, but hopefully it will have been worth it in the end. If not, I just have to undo all this and try something else. Maybe Assam gets cartoon eyes. Yeah, I think that kind of works actually. I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with that and stick with this. I'm going to put the brush back down to what it was before. Zoom in here. Fill this part, because the underside of the mouth, if you look on here, it has, you know, I kind of can't go back to what it originally. Can I do all what I've done to that? Yeah. If I just come off my this part under here is completely dark, and I'll do that with some sort of dashes or hatching or something. But this part has to be completely dark. So we have, zoom out a bit more, a kind of a darkness area here, which continues down to here-ish, and then that comes out from under the chin. Where did I do that line? There. And the same kind of thing comes out from here. I'm just going to turn my screen a little so I can get this with a better angle. So this actually comes out under here like that. It sort of starts there a bit. There we go. There's a little bit of it here. A little bit of it there. Well, we already got that bit there. The thing about this being such a fluffy face is that you can do a lot of fluff lines to get things right, and it sort of just works. You know, it just kind of actually, you know, it doesn't always just work though. When did I do that one? That's wrong. That should only go that far. Oh God. I just realised how little of this face we've actually drawn and how much we're going to have to do to sort of continue it from this point. There's a little bit there as well, a little bit here too. I worry that this isn't actually teaching me how to draw like furries, because I mean that's like the whole point of this part of the week, the sort of, well, the month really, is to learn how to draw animal faces. And I feel like what I'm doing right now is not going to help in that process in the slightest. It's just going to help me draw lots and lots of fur. But you don't actually draw all the fur on a furry. Or maybe I do. Maybe that's my style. Maybe this is how I'll become famous in the world of furry art. By doing a style of fur, a style of fursona, where you can make out every individual strand of fur. And they say most of the money to be made in furry art is with the erotic stuff. Maybe they'd find more fur more erotic? I don't know. Now there's a thing that I attempted last time I did this, which was a kind of colouring on the nose. I wonder if I can stipple this. Am I about to completely wreck my stylus by attempting to stipple on a tablet? Is there a brush for that? Ah. That's a bit slow, don't like that. What I really want is a way to make the spacing correlate with the what does that do? Can I add a new one? Yes, here we go. A new effect. I want the mapping matrix. Oh, hang on. Edit. That's a new one. Here we go. So what we want is for the spacing to depend upon the pressure. Maybe that's kind of closer to what we were after. If I come in here, do this, turn the size down a bit. We'll add some jitter. That's maybe a little bit too much jitter. Or maybe actually that's what we want. What we want is our standard brush with a fair amount of jitter. Aha, look at me figuring things out. Yes. And the dynamics. We turned the spacing right down, didn't we? But it was originally around like 20. Right. Watch this. We can colour the whole thing in like it's stippled. But we can darken certain sections of it. Like it is in the original image. Does that look like a toilet? I posit that maybe it does. Let's give that another go. So we know from that image that the darkest parts are here over the top. The problem is that around the edge it's very difficult to get the stippling right up to the edge as we want it without it going over the edge. Maybe is that what I think that is? No, that's the healing tool. I could have sworn there was like a masking tool of some sort, but I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm thinking of my days of Photoshop. Right, let's go back to the initial plan, which is we're going to hard light this thing. So, what are we doing? Oh yeah, brush, dynamics, back to pressure size, jitter off, back to what it was. Awesome. Now we're going to fill these nostrils because they are dark. I do worry that maybe I should be working on a higher res image than this, but you know, my graphics card can only handle so much, and I'm using multiple layers. So the light parts of this nose are essentially around there to there, like that. So now if we fill the rest of this in dark, yeah, I'm still on track with what I was doing. Fill the rest of this in dark. I keep having to remind myself not to draw from the wrist, but instead to draw from the elbow, which I'm told leads to smoother strokes and more confident lines. Right, so now there's kind of a let's just quickly switch back to the pencil layer. There's kind of a point, kind of along there, where everything in this area is lighter and everything below it is darker. So I probably shouldn't have filled it in like that. What I should have done is filled it in like that. Because I am still not ready to go to grayscales, because grayscales are a gateway drug that leads to shading and colour and all kinds of stuff. What I'm going to do instead, what I am going to do instead is bring back stippling. But I'm going to bring back stippling in a way. I'm going to turn off. Where is it? Here we go. I am briefly going to turn off all dynamics so that I'm literally just doing the same size dots. Because the lightest parts of this I feel like I'm making a breakthrough here. This feels good. This feels like I'm doing the right thing. I'm just going to turn off the pencil layer. Now come on. Come on, that does look good, doesn't it? Does that look good? I think that looks good. Let's stick the dynamics back on, pressure size, and away we go. I also want to stick my pencil layer back on so I can see where my outlines are, because we're about to start the big deal. We're about to start doing the actual fluffage. So here's the thing, the ears are darker, so we have to actually get a kind of darker fur into the ears. We're essentially going to do these with a kind of, there's going to be an obvious edge to them, as it were, but there's also going to be things that shoot past the edge. Hang on a second. I need to do something with this pencil layer. Well, I just created a dialogue on my other screen. I hate it when I do that. Apparently not. Layer. Oh, colours. Colorize. Oh, there it is. Yeah, has gone on another screen. Bring it over here. There we go. So what I want to do with this is increase the lightness, increase the saturation, and shift the hue in a direction that makes it easy to tell what is the pencil. No, too much lightness. More saturation, a bit more lightness, a little bit. There we go. I just want to be very clear what is and isn't a pencil mark. reference image back. Yep. You can't see that, but it helps me. Welcome back, Assam. So there is a kind of a sort of darkness that comes up from that part of the nose. The fur of the eyes sort of stops kind of here-ish, but the fur in between the eyes continues up almost all the way to the outer edge of the head. Not all the way, but almost all the way. This is such an adorable dog. I need to get that angle in there correctly. I don't know if you could hear that jingle jangle. That's my dog, obviously upset at me admiring another dog while I do this. Her turn was yesterday. Well, it wasn't great, but again we have fur on this part of the head. Sort of connects to that, and then the ears come up this way, and the ears are of course darker than anything behind them, so you have a kind of upward stroke as well. And here the head has this kind of it just goes out in all directions. There is no obvious edge to Assam. Assam just keeps going. Here's the thing, I've drawn the other side of the head here, and there was definitely a kind of a chinness here, but the actual fluff of the dog continues below, and this kind of comes up and out of this area here. It sort of joins up, but the actual shape of the dog continues down this way. And similarly, zoom out a bit. Similarly, there's kind of a continuation in this direction as well. A sort of darker area come in here, but the actual zoom in a bit more. So there's kind of a shadow under here. Darker in some places than others. So a couple of lines from there, a couple of whiskers going over this way, and a couple this way as well. There we go, and there's also this fuzziness, it connects. It's like a fuzziness that actually goes all the way over into it. So although it's there's no obvious point at which that kind of ends. lines. I've drawn a very harsh line on it, but there isn't really that harsh a line. It kind of just fuzzes away. If you look, oops. If you look here, it kind of there's no clear delineation. It just gets sort of darker and disappears into it. So that's what we have to do. We have to get darker and darker and darker and darker and darker until the mouth just kind of is. Yeah, that'll do. I think we might be close to done. Turn off the pencils. This eye is wrong. Is it too late to save it? And this comes out too far. That can be saved. That can be... Oops. Zoom in a bit. See, this here can be saved. Bringing that down to there. And doing a little cheeky erase of that part. But this eye is too wide. Methods of saving. The eye's too wide in this direction. If we make it higher, that will obviously correct the perspective. We need to also make this one a bit larger if we do that. Let's give it a go. I think that might work. I don't know how long this is taking me. Oop. That was very wrong. So for this to work, we need to make the eye higher on this side. That will correct that bit of perspective. And also higher on this side to match it. Take a look. Actually better. I'm amazed that worked. Although now this eye is too small because it needs to come down further on this side. So it needs to come down kind of to there. Am I just going to making these eyes bigger and bigger and bigger until there's nothing left of anything except the eyes? Of course, every time I make the eyes larger, I have to then redo the fur work around them. Whoops. That does actually look better. I think the only thing that's missing, the only thing that I can do to improve this here, and this is a very sneaky move, the lasso tool. If I select this entire bit of face, you notice how there's nothing connecting this part of the face to for the area around it. Okay. Oops. Didn't work. Why is that not working? Well, it is working, okay. What I can do is subtly adjust that so it's actually better positioned on the head. The other plus side of working on a computer, of course, is that you can cheat like this. So I can move it right up there, give it a high face. But what I can do is try and centralize it like so. Yeah, done. Anchor it back to the paintbrush, zoom in here, come back to why can't I draw? Oh. Back out this way a little bit further. Well, I was going to do this anyway, so that's not such a hardship. I still need to do this to the other eye. Because dogs, of course, have eyelashes too. It just manifests as fur. That's the only problem with doing these things as, you know, 100% digital images from the beginning, is that you never end up with an original artwork at the end of it. So you can't say things like, hey, would you like the original artwork? I'll send it to you. Just give me your address. So if anyone wants the originals of these, they don't exist. They are entirely virtual. But for someone who's beginning and who doesn't need a hard copy, but who can benefit from being able to move stuff around on the page, boom, we have a completed image. Or do we? We add a little bit more darkness to the ear there. And more to the ear here. I feel like even though it's not there in the original image, if I give a hint at a kind of shadow there for an ear, if I give a hint to a kind of shadow here for an inner ear, that does actually give it more of a furry kind of look, because it's got the inner edge, and the ears are actually darker there. Like if you look at the original picture, the ears are definitely darker. I'm going to call that a day. Actually, I'm not going to call that a day, because I just noticed that on the original art, come back over to here, there's kind of an extra part here which fuzzes in. So I'm just going to come in here and add that last little bit. I think that helps define where the muzzle is. Yeah, that's better. Now we'll save it. My export window's gone to the wrong screen. I need this to remember that everything has to come onto this screen. And we're done. Thank you very much.